Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where in the last episode we now finally, at long last, have our sub-hexes colored. So that, helps. We've still got the shimmering with the camera movement that comes in from the lack of anti-aliasing. I mean, I can turn anti-aliasing back on or turn on a post effect for TAA or something, but for right now I feel like we don't need to do that. So I'm not going to. Now, first things first, some of these colors aren't really what we're looking for long-term, particularly in the urban area. In the rural area, a lot of these colors are pretty good. I like this for farmland. I like this for forest, as it is. We actually didn't have any town there. The towns are probably going to need a little bit of work. Like, we probably want the towns to be a similar color to the, to this color here, ultimately. I could make it be the same color, theoretically. But first, let's make our buildings spawn in the forest. So, realistically, for the clearing, well, realistically, for the forest, we just need to have it kind of randomly generate. So we want to have there be, for the forest, there are two types, yeah? So let's go ahead and say float forest chance equals ADF. So there's an 80% chance that we spawn a forest. And then float clearing chance equals, and this will be 20F. Okay, so there's an 80% chance that we do a forest, there's a 20% chance we do a clearing. So let's now roll ourselves up a random number. So, float... Actually, I'm going to do an int for this, and I'm going to make these ints as well. There's no point to have these be floating point numbers. Like, realistically, there's no reason. So 80, 20, and then int roll equals random.range. Now, 0, and for the integer variant, the max is exclusive, so it cannot roll a 100. So we will actually have it 101, so that it can roll a 100. Now, if roll is, say, let's just go with, if roll is greater than forest chance, spawn a forest. Else, spawn a clearing. There we go. Okay. So, in that case, the only thing we need to do at this point, we don't need to spawn anything yet. So the only thing that we need to do at this point is say game object building equals, and we will, for right now, say that this equals road placeholder. There we go. So if we come down here, then building equals, and this will equal the, this will equal forest prefab, which is just forest. Else down here, this will equal building equals clearing. Okay. So, then we need to spawn this. But we need to spawn this after the roads are spawned. So, all the way down here, when we get to the bottom here, if spawn road, so this is inside of that, this is then inside of print I equals 0, I is less than subhexes.count, I++. So that's good. This is where we want to do this. If subhexes I dot building is not equal to buildings.road, and subhexes I dot building is not equal to buildings.intersection. So if it's not a road or an intersection, those are already handled. But otherwise, we need to go ahead and do this. So let's go ahead and spawn ourselves our road, or not our road, our building. So game object go equals instantiate And this will be building subhexes I.transform.position. Position. There we go. And as far as our rotation goes, we can calculate ourselves a new rotation, right? So we can do something along the lines of quaternion rot equals quaternion dot identity. So that's just a default rotation there. Oh, we've already got one. So at this point, rot equals quaternion dot identity. Oh, this is a vector 3. Okay. If this is a vector 3, then we can just do the same thing we did here. So quaternion.Euler rot. There we go. And then we can set our rot to be new vector 3, 0f, 0f for right now, and then 0f. And then here I'm actually going to do 60f times random.range. And this is going to be times 0, or from 0 to 5. Okay. So that should get us a random rotation. And that will spawn the building so that it's facing one of the hex edges at all times, but it'll face a random one. And then we instantiate the building. We don't need to do anything with the scale, I don't think. Because that's just for the... Yeah, we don't need to do anything with the scale. We do need to say buildings.add go, though. Okay. So the compiler's right. We technically don't need clearing chance there. Let's see if that spawns a forest. Well, it's not going to, because we haven't assigned the prefab to it yet. So for right now, I'm going to bring this out here. And then in the sub-hexes, we'll assign the forest to it there. And then this here, I'm actually going to delete the forest. And we will call this building clearing. And this is just going to be an empty. This is just a placeholder because we don't have anything to put there. It's just an empty spot. So the clearing will go there, and the forest will go there. Okay, now forests should fully generate, I think. Nope. Variable clearing has not been assigned. Didn't I assign it? I'm pretty sure I assigned it. Now I know I assigned it. Am I going crazy? Okay, it didn't spawn any forests. There's some forests! Oh my. Okay, so that happened. I mean, it's fine. It's not quite how I expected it to look, but yeah, that's fine. It despawned the forests there, but it's not spawning forests a lot of the time, and I'm wondering why. So why is it not spawning forests most of the time in a forest? I don't know. One thing I'd like to do, though, is have this be darker. So the random color variation, I would like to say, what if I negate this and make this false? I don't think that's going to work. What I do want to do, though, I think I'm going to leave that the way it is. And then here, when it's a clearing, I'm going to go ahead and set the overlay color to be, instead of using random color variation, I'm going to go ahead and put in about 40, 30 for now. We'll try that. And make can be negative false. So the clearings are just going to be lighter than the forests. We'll make this 15. We'll make this 20. We'll make this 30. We'll try it. We'll see how that works. Now, as far as why it's not spawning a forest a lot of the time, we'll investigate that here in just a moment. So why aren't you spawning forests? Well, it's not going to spawn a forest there. Okay, let's see. Are these... These are biome none. Okay. And building none. Biome none, building none. This tile here is rural. This tile is forest. So are we checking the wrong thing? Manager.selected subhex.biome. No, we are not checking the wrong thing. So if role is, and this should actually be less than forest chance. Oh, I know what part of the problem here is. I need to say subhexes i.building equals buildings.forest. There we go. That would help my debug a bit here. And then this would be buildings.clearing. Okay. And while we're at it, we may as well set the biome, I suppose. We could. .biome equals biomes.forest. There we go. Now we know for a fact. Okay. So, let's see here. It also bears noting that it seems to be kind of an all-or-nothing affair, which indicates that I'm generating this wrong, and I need to take a look at that. Okay, that's a lot of trees. That's a lot of clearing. Yeah, it's all or nothing. And are the roads currently assuming that it's equal to none? It is. Okay. I think what we need to do is go ahead and take that off of there. And do something along the lines of that. Now the roads should go through. It's still going to be an all or nothing affair on whether it's clearing or whether it is road, or rather whether it is forest or clearing. So it's all clearing, it's all clearing, it's all forest, it's all forest, it's all forest, it's all forest. Yeah. So it's still an all or nothing affair there. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening there. Our role is being generated here on for int I equals 0, I is less than subhexes.count I++. So the real question is, why is it always the same role? Because we're only doing it for subhexes I. But apparently it's always returning the same role no matter what. We're knitting our seed state here, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want to do. As far as this goes, our clearings are, you know, not... Well, it's not choosing on a per hex basis. So we have our forest chance here. We have our roll here. And this is inside of our for loop. So we switch manager.selected subhex.biome. Maybe we need to do our roll outside of the switch statement? Like, if we do our roll here? I don't know why that would change anything. But we'll give it a go. That's all clearing, that's all forest. Yeah, it didn't change anything. I didn't expect it to. So there's that. Well, there's definitely an issue here. So the question is, why is it not re-rolling this? Why is it generating the same for every subhex? I mean, maybe for some reason there's an integer problem here. Let's go ahead and do a float roll between 0f and 100f. And then float forest chance equals 80f. I mean, there shouldn't be a problem with using an integer there, as far as I can tell. But let's see. Maybe that's the issue. I'd be very surprised if that was the issue. So that's all forest. That's all forest. That's all forest. That's all clearing. Yeah, that didn't fix it. Okay. Maybe the problem is... Oh, I know what the problem is. I definitely know what the problem is. The problem is we're iterating through twice. We need to iterate through just the once. So what we need to do is up here, we need to have our for int I equals 0, and then we need to get rid of this one here. Well, actually, we need to change this over to be j. So this needs to change over. And then this here can be j as well, and then these would all be j. Like, all of these here need to be j. Equals j. This is a lot of errors, but we're fixing them. So this needs to be j here as well. And then this one is j. We need to go ahead and rename this one to be k. There we go. Oh, barely got to my sneeze button in time there. Okay, so we need to update this one to be k. And then instead of I, this needs to be j. And the same thing here. Okay. And then we need to go ahead and move this bracket here, I believe. Yes. This bracket here needs to go ahead and move all the way down here until after we spawn everything. Right here is where we need to be. Okay, and then we need to go ahead and move all of this. Come on. That is a lot of things. Okay. Need to move all of this over. Ditch this for loop. Yes. Yes, indeed. That's going to cause issues. That is okay. So, up here, we need to go ahead and add in another curly bracket. This is becoming slightly problematic. Actually, I think we needed to return a or to delete a curly brace. Yeah, we needed to delete a curly brace. Okay. So now we're only iterating through the once. But we need to check up here when we go over to our road generation. Okay, that's in if generate roads. Can we go to the end of this? That would sure be nice. Or minimize it. That would sure be nice too. Apparently not. So let's go ahead and come on down here and check if spawn road, blah, blah, blah. This is our if generate roads. So we need to move this outside of our if generate roads at this point. So out here is where we need it. And now we can just do quaternion rot equals quaternion.Euler. And we can do it this way. I mean, we didn't have to do it this way, but that's one way to do it. Okay. How much did I break? Everything. Oh, that's what I like to see. Well, we know it's working-ish, but we have a lot of argument out of range exceptions, so let's see what's going on with that. So this is in sub-hex manager, line 242. Let's go ahead and come up here. Oh boy. Line 242. Okay. So, this is in our generation of roads. Next hex equals possible locations, random.range 0 possible locations dot count. So how did I break this? I mean, we could turn off generate roads for now. Theoretically. But how did I break this? So this is if j, blah, 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 blah. This is our biome generation. So we're doing this whether we're generating the roads or not. And then we go into if generate roads. So how did we end up breaking this? Let's see, it was here that we ended up breaking it, line 242. So possible locations.add current hex.neighbors k, blah, blah, blah. Are we assuming certain things? No, that shouldn't be the case. So this is giving us what? An argument out of range exception? So how can that give us an argument out of range exception unless if the possible locations is 0? But this doesn't check. It just overwrites, right? Because what I'm thinking here is, if this is giving us a out-of-range error, that means that there are not any numbers in possible locations. But the weird thing is that it's generating in the center. That is certainly weird. What happens in here? Same thing. Argument out of range exception. Argument out of range. Argument out of range. Argument out of range. All in line 242. Which indicates that there aren't any possible locations. Possible locations.clear, add goal hex here. And then break out. We didn't change anything here other than this. Current hex.onRoad equals j. We did change this. Int j equals 0, j is less than roadentries.count, j++. If j is less than or equal to 2, then we do all of this. Current hex.onRoad equals j. But it's erroring out here, which indicates that it's not adding things to the possible locations. The question is, why? I would really like to figure that out. Current distance, square magnitude. Current hex neighbors k here. Current hex neighbors k. On-road is not equal to j, so we add that as a possible location. And it's erroring out on the first one, so it's not a clearing issue. So the question is, why is it not viewing these as options? We're iterating through there. Oh, I know what the problem is. This here, when it generates the roads, this here needs to be outside of this. So let's go ahead and have this happen first. Well, it needs to happen outside of the for loop. So I guess we need to say here, if subhexes I dot building is not equal to buildings dot none, then we need to just continue the loop. And then up here, we need to say, we need to copy all of this, including the if generate roads, correct? No. Okay. Copy all of this, or rather cut all of this, then up here, say generate roads. If generate roads, then we need to have our roads in first. Because we need to generate our roads before we do everything else. So I think that'll fix it. I hope. Let's see. Nope. That made it worse. So this is out of range at line 202 now. So the same problem. And the question is... Oh. What? I moved this wrong. Oh boy. I need to move it not there, but outside of the for loop entirely. Okay, let me put this back at 150%. There we go. Outside of the for loop entirely. Now it should work. Wow, that was a stupid mistake on my part. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Now it's not generating any roads at all. Whoa! Okay. Now it's generating all the roads in weird places. Whoa. Okay, so I seem to have broken everything. So that's, you know, great. Oh, why is everything broken now? We need to say, if the building is not equal to buildings.none, continue. When we clear it, we set them to buildings.none, correct? That was my assumption. So when we clean up subhexes, subhexes I.building equals buildings.none. Okay. Excellent. I'm going to figure this out. I want to get this back to working. So let's go ahead and check up here. If subhexes I.building is not equal to buildings.none, then we continue. So we don't set their color here. That's fine. We can always set their color down here. This is only happening if generate roads. Which I feel like is kind of unnecessary. So I'm going to go ahead and go find the end of this particular one, which is right here. Okay, and let's bring this on up. Come on. as far as we can, up to the if generate roads. Right here. Shift tab, close this. Okay, rot now is in the same scope, so we're going to go ahead and bring this back to where it was. And then quaternion.euler rot. Okay. So, I don't think that's going to fix it. But let's find out. Quasi fixed it. I mean, now we've got that going on. One thing we need to do, the reason that is happening, actually, is because when we clear the subhexes, we need to bring our color back to where it was before. So let's go ahead and say subhexes I dot set overlay color dot white. Okay. So now we should be able to see that our roads are generating but not spawning. I think. Let's find out. Okay, roads. Yeah. Roads are generating but not spawning, and you can see these are our clearings here. These are all road tiles. And we can verify that as well by saying if spawn road. So let's go ahead and say if subhexes I dot building equals buildings dot road and subhexes I dot building. Actually, this instead of and needs to be or. Subhexes I dot building equals buildings dot intersection. Okay, spawn road is now assigned but not used. Now spawn road doesn't exist. We shouldn't need it anymore. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And let's see if that fixes it. Okay, it didn't. Why did it not fix it? This is an intersection. Should be fine. So, if subhexes I.building equals buildings.road, blah 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 blah. So we assign it. Okay, down here, when we spawn the building, I'm going to go ahead and say subhexes I dot set overlay color, and this is just going to be color dot gray. So we'll be able to see our roads, even if they're not properly spawning. Which I'm not sure why they're not spawning right now. Oh, no forest there at all. Okay. Look at that. So, if that's the case, if it's not setting the color on them, that's weird. Okay, this is an intersection, this is an intersection, intersection, intersection. Oh my, these are all intersections. Why are these all intersections? How did this break this badly? Okay, clearly something is going wrong in our road generation here. There's no doubt about that. So I'm going to go ahead and change this back to I. And then this back to J. For sure. And as far as why it's no longer properly assigning it, I don't know, that's weird. Oh. Oh. I figured it out. If current hex dot building equals buildings dot none. I need to put this back because we changed this when we were doing our roads after, and then make this be back to an else if it's equal to buildings.road. Then we change it to intersection, and then if it's equal to intersection, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I think that'll fix it. Nope. Okay, how did that not fix it? It did, though. That's an intersection, that's a road, that's a road, that's a road, that's a road. Okay, so that did fix it. Now it's just not spawning correctly. If subhexes... Oh, this here. So I think we need to move this from here, because we need to go ahead and set this here and make this be a break. So what it was doing is it was just continuing anytime it was already set. That was the error. So we need to break out of this if it's not previously set by the road. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a comment here. There's a road here. Don't spawn anything. There. Now I'll know why I'm breaking out right here. And that should fix this. Let's see. Come on. Come on. Yeah! That's more like it. Okay. And you can see we have clearings there, and we have forests there. Fantastic. Now, this coloration really isn't probably the color we want for our road tiles, but it'll do for right now. It's primarily a demonstration. So, this is spawning a whole bunch of nothing because it doesn't actually know what to spawn there, but that's correct. It's spawning correctly. Doesn't know what to spawn in any of these. The only place it knows what to spawn is in the forest. So, I would say our forest generation is now pretty much complete. Although I did just have an idea, and I'm going to add it in here. Because in the forest, I came up with a third thing we can have. Cabin. We'll implement that, however, in the next episode. See you all then.